I'm turning a long sleeve fitness top into a bodysuit in this Upcycle. Alright, so you see, lay it flat, important. And the video on the right is me just trying to fit it to my body and see where I want the underwear part of the bodysuit to start. And I'm marking that when I've laid the shirt flat on this counter. This blue bodysuit I made, I think, the end of last year from a dress I never wore. And I made the blue bodysuit from a tank top and a pair of undies. And it worked out, so I'm copying it here. Outline it with blue chalk, including the seam allowance. And I do go up into the arm just a bit so that the seam looks more natural than if I had just ended it at the arm and then it's like a bulky armpit piece. And I want to make sure that I don't have weird buckles in the seams so that nothing's weird when I cut. Remarking where I want the top part of the underwear portion to start. And then yeah, just cut on in and hope for the best. Even though I marked it with pins and the chalk, I am still folding over the cut half, and I'm just gonna copy those lines and make sure everything lines up so there's no weird imbalance in the top. I think it's good to mark both sides just in case, I don't know, maybe you can't quite get a perfect fold or something, depending on what kind of fabric or garment it is. And now, yeah, cut off the bulky seam at the bottom of the top because no one wants extra lumps in their pants. So I measured how much extra I would need, which is, I think it was about 3 inches on either side, like the front and back sides. So I have to cut 2 3-inch squares from this scrap fabric plus seam allowance, so about 3.5. I think I did 4 inches, so I could do 1/2 inch seam allowance when I sew them together and then a 1/2 inch seam allowance when I sew them to the actual top. Sort of a square piece. Now I set that to the side and start sewing the sides together, the waist adjustments. I guess I could have sewn this before I cut it. I don't know why I didn't do that. It didn't occur to me. I had a lot of trouble getting the zigzag stitch started on my machine. I used the scrap fabric to figure it out and find out which needle type works for this athletic stretch fabric, what tension works better, what stitch size works best. Took a lot of trial and error. Stretch fabric's never been my strong suit, so despite the first half of this feeling like it was a cursed project, once I got it to properly sew the way it should, it's pretty smooth sailing. It's not totally smooth, but much smoother. So this is the underwear piece. It's like the crotch piece, I guess, really. there's a seam again. I don't like extra seams and extra nonsense where it doesn't belong. So then pin it to the front and back of the top. And make sure you do it so that the seams are all on the same side. For this, I just used a straight stitch because lazy mostly, and it doesn't really matter how much it stretches on the seams because I've measured it to fit me. If I thought it might be a little small, then I would probably use a zigzag just so that there's some extra stretch. I'm eyeballing it, yep, to make sure it's lined up. Again, the straight stitch for just this part, and then we go back to the zigzag. And I start folding over, it's about a 1/2 inch for the underwear portion seam allowance. I really just let the fabric figure it out for me, and it did. Yeah, pin both sides. I'm putting extra pins in the fabric, in the extra fabric, because I don't want it to get bunched up when I start sewing. You know, sometimes it folds over. And see, the project's going well now, so I'm jamming to the music and singing along. You're welcome that you can't hear me. I'm a horrible singer. Yep, back to zigzag. And go all the way around. Yeah, I like to make sure it works because I like to make sure the stitch is working and not looking all mangled. Because I don't want to get through one whole side and then discover, oh man, I've made a huge mistake. So the other side. It's not perfect, but it is pretty good. And since I'm not showing off the bottom part of bodysuits to anybody, I think I'm in the clear. No one's gonna inspect the stitching down there that close. And now I sew the other side, same way. Yeah, I put the pins backwards. It's just something I do about 50% of the time. I can get it right, 50% of the time I don't get it right. But you see, it looks like underwear down there. Waist is taken in a little bit, cut off the strings and the extra fabric. I have in the past cut the garment instead of the extra fabric, which is why you see me being so cautious with these extra little pieces here. And yeah, yeah, the before and after, you see the one on the right's a little bit more tailored. I'm not taking my shorts all the way down, but you do see that it has an underwear look. And yeah, if you liked it, like and subscribe. Thank you. Hope it was helpful for you.